$900. That is the average amount the American household lost in real grocery value last year. Not from price increases on any receipt, not from buying more, but from products that quietly got smaller while the sticker price held exactly where it was, every single week, without a single announcement from anyone. Today, I'm going to walk you through 10 products that have been doing this systematically, give you the real before and after numbers, explain the psychology behind why it works so well, and hand you 2 free habits that will stop it immediately. No apps, no spreadsheets, no subscription to anything. 2 habits. And then I'll show you the third move. The one that doesn't just catch the theft, it eliminates it entirely for certain categories. There's one item on this list that ran 2 separate shrinkflation events at the same time. The quantity shrank, and the container itself quietly changed dimensions simultaneously. Get to number 7. When I walk through what they actually did, the sheer commitment to it is almost admirable in the worst possible way. I've been running unit price checks for 2 years, and I've not paid for a phantom amount since. The practice has a name, shrinkflation. A company reduces the quantity in a package while holding the price the same or bumping it slightly on top. No announcement, no shelf sign. The package looks identical. The branding is identical. The only evidence is a smaller number in fine print on the back panel, and most consumers have no reference point for what that number used to be. The reason this works better than simply raising the sticker price comes down to how people actually process purchases. Consumers anchor hard to price points. A $4.99 bag of chips has been $4.99 in your mental database for years. It moves to $5.49 and you notice. You compare. You might switch. But if that bag stays $4.99 and quietly loses half an ounce, complaint rates fall to near zero. In psychology, this is called the just noticeable difference. And the minimum change a person consciously registers. For weight and volume in packaged goods, that threshold sits around 5 to 7%. Companies have studied this number carefully. Remove 6%, keep the price, and you are statistically in the clear, which is exactly why they don't do it in one dramatic cut. They do it in small increments over several years, and the cumulative reduction becomes significant long before anyone starts comparing packaging across purchase cycles. There's also a design layer to this that almost never comes up in conversation. Many shrinkflated products maintain identical rigid outer dimensions, same height, same width, same shelf footprint, while reducing interior volume. A bag gets a deeper fold at the top. A container gets a concave base. A canister gets a recessed bottom that eats into the interior space. The visual signal your brain uses to recognize a familiar product hasn't changed at all. Shape, color, logo, font, all consistent with the version you've trusted for years. The only thing different is what's inside it. Your brain did its job. The packaging was designed to exploit that. Before anyone raises the point that the weight is technically on the label, yes, it is. Printed in a font that requires concentration to locate. On a back panel designed to be the last thing you read. Buried behind nutrition facts and marketing copy. The information is technically present. That is not the same thing as being communicated. There's a reason it's on the back. Now for the 10. These are documented cases with real before and after figures. Some of these you will recognize immediately. A few might genuinely surprise you. And for each one, I'll tell you whether consumers are catching on or whether the company's math is still working perfectly. Number 1, Folgers Classic Roast Coffee. The large red canister carried 51.3 ounces as recently as 2019. By 2021, it was down to 43.5. By 2023, the number had dropped again to 40.3. That's over 11 ounces removed from a container that looks functionally identical across every version. Here's the part worth sitting with. One of those reductions happened during a window when wholesale green coffee bean prices were actually falling at the commodity level. Input costs went down. The canister went down anyway. Reddit communities tracking back panel weights started publishing side-by-side label comparisons around 2023, and some of those posts went fairly wide. Folgers has not addressed the discrepancy publicly. The canister is still red. It is still large. It is not still 51 ounces. Number 2, Breyers ice cream. The family-size container held 1.75 quarts, 56 fluid ounces for years. Around 2013, it dropped to 1.5 quarts, which is 48 ounces. A cup and a half of ice cream removed from a container that looks nearly identical from the front. The per scoop effective cost increased by roughly 14% in that single move. What made this one particularly well executed? Breyers simultaneously reformulated several products to include enough non-dairy ingredients that they no longer legally qualified as ice cream at all. They became frozen dairy dessert. Different product, same container, same shelf position, same brand recognition. Most consumers noticed the taste change before they noticed the volume did. By then, the new normal was already set. Number 3, Doritos. The party size bag peaked at approximately 18 ounces. By 2022, it had come down to 15 and a quarter. The method was specific. The physical bag dimensions barely changed, but the nitrogen-filled air pocket inside was enlarged. Pick it up in the store, it feels full. Open it, it isn't. PepsiCo cited input cost pressures when pressed on the change. Those pressures eventually eased. The bag did not go back to 18 ounces. Awareness on this one is reasonably high in snack and grocery communities online. It has not affected sales in any measurable way. Number 4, Gatorade. The 32-ounce bottle was a constant in the sports drink aisle for decades. In 2022, it quietly became a 28-ounce bottle. Same shape, same label, same placement, 4 ounces gone. PepsiCo confirmed the change when asked, framing it as a response to elevated manufacturing and ingredient costs. Awareness on this one is higher than average. Gym communities flagged it quickly because volume per dollar matters when you're tracking intake. But purchase behavior hasn't shifted enough to reverse the decision. 4 ounces is apparently within the tolerance range. Number 5, Tropicana orange juice. The standard carton ran at 59 fluid ounces for a long time. In 2022, it dropped to 52, 7 ounces gone. That's close to a full extra glass per carton you are no longer receiving. The effective per ounce cost jumped by roughly 13%. The carton proportions look similar enough that catching the change requires actually reading the number. Most people buying on grocery store autopilot never read the number. That is the business model. The carton looks fine. The carton is fine. What went into it is the variable. Number 6, Hellmann's mayonnaise. The classic jar ran at 30 ounces for years. Around 2021, it became 28 ounces. 2 ounces sounds minor. At the rate a household cycles through mayo, it adds up to effectively paying for an extra jar every few months that you never actually receive. Unilever, which owns Hellmann's, ran multiple rounds of quantity adjustments across several of its food brands during 2020 through 2022, catching on slowly in food budget communities. Not yet a mainstream conversation. The jar still looks like the jar. Number 7, Charmin Ultra Soft, the double event. Between 2020 and 2023, Charmin ran 2 simultaneous reductions. The sheet count per roll went down, and the individual sheet dimensions, the actual physical length and width of each sheet, also shrank, both at the same time. You were losing sheets and losing sheet size simultaneously, meaning the total usable square footage per package fell significantly more than the roll count alone would suggest. To make direct comparison as difficult as possible, the packaging language shifted aggressively toward tiered roll designations. Mega rolls, double rolls, triple rolls, super mega rolls, a labeling system complex enough that comparing it to a standard roll requires math most shoppers will not do standing in an aisle. This one is partly catching on, but the roll count branding fog is still doing exactly what it was designed to do. Number 8, Bounty paper towels. Same playbook, competing product. Sheet counts reduced across multiple configurations, and in some formats, the individual sheet dimensions also got smaller. Again, 2 separate reductions running in parallel. Paper goods have been among the most aggressively shrinkflated categories overall, likely because the product is bulky, the perceived value is hard to benchmark against anything, and nobody actually knows how many sheets they used last month. Catching on slowly among people who've started unit price tracking, mostly invisible to everyone else. Number 9, individual serve yogurt cups. This one has a different trajectory because it became industry-wide rather than brand specific. For years, the standard single-serve cup ran at 6 ounces. Between roughly 2013 and 2018, multiple major brands, Yoplait, Danone, Chobani among them, gradually transitioned to 5.3-ounce containers. The transition was distributed across several years and several brands simultaneously, which had the effect of normalizing the new size across the entire category rather than flagging any individual company. Today, 5.3 ounces is simply the standard. Most consumers buying individual yogurt cups have never seen the 6-ounce version. There is no reference point. You cannot catch something if you never knew what it used to be. That's not an accident. That's a category reset. And I'll come back to yogurt in a minute because it's actually one of the easiest things you can take completely off this list. Number 10, Honey Nut Cheerios and several other General Mills cereals. Box weight was trimmed most visibly around 2020 through 2022, while the box dimensions stayed essentially unchanged. The interior liner shrank to hold less product. General Mills also ran mild formula adjustments on certain products during this period. a layer of skimpflation on top of the shrinkflation. The box occupies the same shelf space. It always has. The cereal inside is doing slightly less well for itself, catching on in food blog communities, not yet visible in mainstream shopping behavior. It's in the fine print on the back panel. It's always in the fine print on the back panel. That's 10. The consistent thread across all of them. Input cost pressures were real at the time the reductions were made. Several of those pressures have since eased. The product sizes have not followed them back. Costs went up, products shrank. Costs came down, products stayed small. One of those responses makes economic sense. You can work out which one. If this kind of breakdown is what you come here for, a quick subscribe keeps it going. Free takes 2 seconds. And if you want to go deeper, channel members get access to a set of videos that never go public. More of this, more detail, staying inside the membership. Link below if that's your kind of thing. Now, what you actually do about it. Every grocery shelf label carries 2 prices. The large one on the top line is the package price. Below it, usually in a smaller font, is the unit price, cost per ounce, per pound, per sheet, per count. This is the only number that gives you an honest comparison. Not the brand, not the size descriptor on the front panel, not whether the label says family or value or economy or club size. The unit price strips away all the packaging theater and tells you exactly what you are paying per unit of actual product. When you start using that number as your default, 2 things become obvious fairly quickly. First, family size is not automatically the best value. Large formats have been shrinkflated more aggressively than mid-sizes in several categories. That's where the volume lives, so that's where incremental reductions are least likely to trigger a purchase switch. You will sometimes find the mid-size package carrying a lower unit price than the jumbo version sitting directly beside it. Second, store brands frequently haven't caught up to a national brand's latest shrinkflation cycle. The national brand trimmed 6% in the spring. The store brand is still at the original weight from 2 years ago. Lower sticker price and more product at the same time. This combination is not rare. It's on the shelf one level below eyeline, which is where store brands tend to live. Running the unit price calculation before defaulting to whatever's at eye level takes 15 seconds and occasionally saves a meaningful amount. The second habit takes 2 seconds. First time you buy any product you purchase regularly, photograph the net weight or net count on the back panel. Keep a dedicated photo album on your phone for it. Next purchase, open the album, compare. You catch every shrinkflation event the day it rolls out. Not a year later, not after a dozen purchases have already gone through the actual day it happens. Now, here's the third move, the one that doesn't just catch the theft. It removes the product from the equation entirely. For a surprising number of the items on this list, and dozens of other household staples that have been through the same playbook, the homemade version costs a fraction of the store price, uses 1 or 2 real ingredients instead of a paragraph of additives, and genuinely works better. Not kind of works better, noticeably, measurably better. Yogurt is the clearest example. The 5.3 ounce shrinkflated cup at $1.79 contains stabilizers, modified starch, and sometimes artificial flavor. 2 ingredients, whole milk and a tablespoon of live culture, give you a full quart of yogurt for under 40 cents with a probiotic count the commercial version can't touch. You make it once and it replicates itself indefinitely. The brand never gets another dollar of your money for it. Peanut butter is the same story. 1 ingredient, 5 minutes. A jar that costs the brand $5.99 on the shelf contains fully hydrogenated oil as the second ingredient, put there to prevent separation at the cost of displacing the peanut oil that's supposed to be there. Your version has none of that. Better nutrition, stronger flavor, 40 cents a jar. This extends well past food. Household cleaning products, personal care basics, laundry treatments, category after category where the commercial product is a diluted, additive-heavy version of something you can make with 2 or 3 simple ingredients at a cost that's almost embarrassing by comparison. Better ingredients, no filler, no shrinkflation cycle ever, because you control what goes in. I have a significant number of videos on exactly this. Homemade versions of food and household products that are cheaper, cleaner, and in most cases outperform the brand name version you've been buying on autopilot. Yogurt, peanut butter, cleaning products, personal care. The full list is on the channel. Each one is a permanent exit from the shrinkflation equation for that category. Worth browsing if you've gotten this far into this video. You're clearly the kind of person who finds this useful. Now for the version that's harder to spot, and in some ways more frustrating. Skimpflation. The package stays the same size. The price stays the same or increases. The formula changes inside. A cheaper oil replaces a better one. A filler gets added or its ratio gets quietly bumped up. Protein content shifts down. Water content increases. None of this requires any public announcement. Ingredient labels only need to reflect current composition, not what that composition was on the previous production run. The mechanism is trust. You have been buying the same product for years. That accumulated trust is being converted into margin incrementally through reformulations that pass through without notice or announcement. The best documented cases sit in peanut butter, pasta sauces, packaged snack foods, and personal care products. Category after category where a years-long relationship with a familiar product has been quietly renegotiated without your knowledge. The unit price habit doesn't catch this. What catches it is noticing when something you've relied on starts tasting slightly off, cleaning slightly less effectively, or running out slightly faster than it used to. That is not your perception shifting. That is the product. Trust your instincts on this one. They're usually right. Here's the full year picture. A household running 150 packaged grocery items through per year, with roughly 40 of them in some form of active shrinkflation or skimpflation cycle, a conservative estimate given current consumer market surveys, at an average 8% quantity reduction. Annual loss in real purchasing power, somewhere between $300 and $900. No line items for it anywhere, no receipt showing it, no announcement, just a grocery budget that doesn't stretch as far as it did 2 years ago, with no obvious explanation on any bill. 3 moves. Unit price at every comparison. Net weight photograph on every first purchase of a regular item. And for the categories where it makes sense, make it yourself. Exit the system entirely for that product. The number they want you looking at is the large one on the front panel. The number that tells the truth is the small one on the back. And the best version of the product is frequently in your own kitchen for a fraction of the cost. That is the whole game. You now know exactly where to... Look, thanks for watching. Share this one with whoever does the grocery shopping in your house. They will thank you for it. See you in the next one.